Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us so promptly. We're just going to wait a couple of moments before we begin the presentation to give everyone a chance to join. So we will get started shortly. Just bear with us for a minute or two, and thank you for your patience. Right, hello again, and good morning to those who have just joined us. We're going to start the presentation now, but just before we do, there is going to be a short Q&A session at the end. So if you do have any questions throughout, please do send them over. You should be able to see a questions box in your control panel, so just pop them in there. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to Sarah Wilcox, who is going to start the presentation.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. So today we're going to be talking about driving revenue through subscriptions. First, I'll give you a bit of background on who I am and my company. So Screen Pages is a full-service e-commerce agency that focuses on delivering leading-edge e-commerce solutions for merchants and companies who want to innovate digitally and grow online. So we predominantly work with FMCG companies, fashion and lifestyle brands, but also B2B brands with an appetite for selling to their trade customers online. So we've been around for about 20 years, and as a result, we've developed a lot of expertise in a number of areas. So over that period of time, we've implemented a lot of e-commerce solutions, so both B2C, B2B, and D2C. We understand what users expect when shopping online from the website across multiple devices. We understand that it's difficult to deliver a good shopping experience on mobile, and that requires certain disciplines. Most of our brands are selling globally. Some of them are just selling within the UK, but most of them are also selling their wares to international markets. We also understand a lot about integration, because delivering a good e-commerce solution requires product information, which is typically stored in legacy systems. So we have a lot of experience at getting the whole end-to-end process working. And we also understand a lot about marketing and search engine optimization online, so that you can get the best possible amounts of traffic to your website. So just a quick slide with a few examples of the kinds of brands that we've delivered solutions for. This is just to show you that e-commerce isn't just for any particular type of vertical or company. It applies to all in today's market. And if you don't have an e-commerce strategy, then you need to think about getting one very quickly. So So just moving on into subscriptions. So effectively, just a quick, I hope I'm not preaching to the converted, but a quick definition of what a subscription-based model is. So it's a model where a company or business is looking to provide a product or service on a regular basis in exchange for regular payments from the customer. And it's not just something that applies to traditional niches like historically you would give the Sunday Times your money every week to send the newspaper to you. It now applies across all sectors in fashion, lifestyle, and food industries as well. So according to data collected by McKinsey in 2018, so this is over 2 years ago, so the largest subscription-based companies generated $2.6 billion worth of revenue worldwide in 2016. And that was compared to 57 million in 2011. So this market is growing rapidly and exponentially. This increase can be attributed to the fact that nearly half of all consumers have hopped on some kind of subscription service bandwagon online in that period of time, predominantly for convenience, but also for value for money. So this slide just shows you the sheer different types of sectors that are trying, and startups that are trying subscription-based models. You'll be familiar with some of these, like Birchbox in the UK, and so on. But as you can see, it applies to leisure, pet items, alcohol, health supplements, men's clothing, women's clothing, personal care, and so on. So it really is something that is applicable to everybody. So the most common 3 different types of subscription models out there are the replenishment model, where you have regular recurring deliveries of consumable products. So this would be companies like Bloom and Wild, who deliver regular flower boxes through your letterbox, and you can either order them for yourself or order them for, as a present for somebody else. Gusto and Mindful Chef, who sort of deliver you all the ingredients you need to make regular meals every week, and you can subscribe to how the frequency with which you and the amount with which you want to receive these meals. And then obviously the obvious ones, things like instant ink, where you don't have to think about buying ink for your printer at home, so it just automatically knows when you need to have some more ink delivered to you and sends it through your letterbox. There's the curation model, and this is something that's a bit more recent, but is growing very rapidly. And these are collections of products to individual recipients based on their unique needs and tastes. So there's the clothing company Stitch Fix, where you sort of sign up and you fill out a whole questionnaire online about what your sort of size is, what your measurements are, what your style is like, what your clothing preferences are, how frequently you would like to be sent a curated selection of items. And then it charges you, if you're happy to proceed, £10 per month or per every 2 months, which is then deducted from any clothing that you purchase that has been sent to your home. If they send it to your home and you don't buy any of it, then you don't get the £10 back. But even if you only buy 1 item, that's discounted from that 1 item, and the returns are all free as well. And then you've also got beauty companies like Birchbox, who carefully select a number of different beauty items that they think you might like and send that to you on a regular basis, and you can sign up for different levels of plan depending on how frequently you want to receive the products and how many products you want to receive. And then you've got the access model, which is where customers purchase a membership in order to have access to the company's services and products. So the most obvious one I can think of is Amazon Prime. A lot of people forget that they're spending £80 a year on their Prime membership, but they are, and they're paying that in order to get access to next day delivery on certain products on the Amazon website. But the same goes for brands like Ocado, who charge you a certain monthly fee for what they call their Smart Pass membership, which allows you to have free delivery as long as you order a minimum, unlimited free delivery as long as you order a minimum basket of about £40. And finally, Naked Wines, you have to pay a monthly membership fee to get access to a selection of wines carefully curated by them. Once again, with them, they're supplied direct from the growers, so it's almost like being part of an exclusive club. Naked Wines were purchased recently by Majestic. They were so successful. So what are the benefits to merchants of allowing customers to pick a box or become a member and so on and so forth? So you'll get increased retention. The longer your customer is subscribed to your products, the more you'll get to know about their preferences, and the better you'll be able to meet their desires and needs. So it's almost like the perfect circle. So the better you do, the longer they'll stay subscribed, the better you do, and so on and so forth. So it's very useful for merchants in that respect. Even if not all of your customers are subscribers, you'll get a lot more information from those that are subscribers rather than those that sort of randomly buy whenever they sort of feel like purchasing your products. You'll also have to do a lot less customer retention marketing if they're subscribed already. And there'll be a lot less difficulty gathering what we call recency, frequency, monetary analysis for those types of customers. You'll also be able to improve your forecasting. So everybody knows the most difficult thing is working out what customers want to buy and when, and that can change with the weather, that can change with the economy, that can change with all sorts of things. So having subscriptions or a percentage of your business or customers ordering on regular subscriptions, then you'll be able to better predict what stock you need and how much staffing you'll need to fulfill those orders. So it makes it a lot easier to manage your business. Because they're subscribed, customers will engage more with you, so they won't ignore your emails because they've decided that they like you enough that they want to subscribe, and the emails that you send them will be pertinent to them because they're subscribed, and you're only going to talk to them really about the stuff that they've already agreed to buy from you, theoretically, although in practice it's not always the case, but that's the mentality. And then, as I mentioned before, you'll have this sort of improved customer relationship management because you won't be spending so much time and effort on customer acquisition. It's easier to keep an existing customer happy than it is to acquire a new one. So those are all the reasons that it's beneficial to merchants to do it. So how should you get started? The first thing you need to think about is, who are you targeting? Who are your target customers? Are you going to offer your subscription model to your existing customers or a whole new demographic of customers, so a whole different type of customer? So if you've historically sold to, let's say, women aged 25 to 45, are you going to try and get them to subscribe, or are you creating a new service for a different type of individual, or both? What information do you have already about those customers anywhere in your business, either from your website or in store or so on and so forth, or stored in your back office system or your point of sale system? And also, are they subscribed to any other services already? So it's worth doing a little bit of market research, because you're going to need to, as a second point, find out what's lacking and missing. So what improvements or changes are those personas or target customers going to want to or need to make in their lives? So there's two different things here, want and need. If you can identify a need that's missing or a gap in the marketplace, then that's great. It will make it a lot easier for you. But want and desire is also an important part of the process. So it's good to look at both of those. So are they looking for just a new experience, have more fun, improve their health, improve their home, etc.? So it's important to try and understand those things. And then you can start defining what makes you different. So what are your competitors doing that or not doing that can address these needs wants? So do you offer faster delivery? Are your products ethically sourced? Do you support charities? Do you have, if it's food, do you have vegan, gluten-free options? So it's really important that you have a differentiator, because otherwise you'll just be sort of trying to sell them exactly something that somebody else is already selling them in terms of subscriptions. And then you need to choose the right model for your business. Is it a replenishment plan, a curation subscription model, or an access subscription model? And it's very important to make sure that that is appropriate for what it is you're trying to offer. And finally, once you've decided all of that, is it appropriate to, if you're already doing e-commerce and selling online, is it appropriate to add it to your existing website? Or do you need to create a whole new brand and a whole new website? But whatever it is that you do, it needs to be across all customer touch points with your business. So if they've subscribed to something, then they need to benefit from those subscription products and services online, but in store also. So it's really important that you choose the right technologies for this type of solution so that you can meet your customers' needs, and that's something that we can help advise with. So the key challenges when setting up this kind of model are going to be that you have no points of difference. So a lot of people will have heard of brands like Gusto and Mindful Chef. To all intents and purposes, the service they provide looks the same when you initially visit their website. But what's really interesting is that Gusto will offer the ability for their customers to shop by, food intolerances. So they can browse their menus for gluten-free options, dairy-free options, vegan options. Those options are available on Mindful Chef, but it's not easy to find them and you can't filter by them. So it's a real differentiator that Gusto do a lot of marketing around, and it's very important to a lot of people. So Gusto also offer all of the standard menu options, but that's how they differentiate from Mindful Chef. So it doesn't matter what your points of difference are, you need to have some. You need to be mindful of something called subscription fatigue. So people can be very fickle, and if they receive a piece of marketing from another brand that's selling something similar, that's offering them an initial discount, and we're all familiar with this, the war that's going on between Virgin and Sky. Whereas if you're a new customer, you get a much better deal for the first year, and then you can just keep switching with all the energy and services suppliers to get a better deal. But this is happening as well with subscriptions. So you need to continue to delight your subscribers, or someone else will take that business away from you. So once they're subscribed, don't just rest on your laurels. Think about the sorts of things that you could do to delight them, and that might be to broaden the range of products that you offer subscriptions for. So, for example, on Gusto, you can't just order their now in addition to ordering their sort of the ingredients for making particular recipes, you can also add off-the-shelf products that you'd find in the supermarket, like goo puddings and things like that, to your basket, which is once again, it's a differentiator, and it's really important. Or you could think about sort of providing something that Ocado Smart Pass do, is they'll send you a new product to try free of charge with your grocery shop every week. So it doesn't have to be free of charge, and it doesn't have to be expensive, and it doesn't have to be a discount. You can get creative with these things, but you need to continue to surprise and delight your customers. You have to really think about all of the eventualities, all of the things that are going to that your customers are going to want to do with their subscriptions. So everybody occasionally loses their debit card. Well, maybe some people don't, but I do. or my debit card or credit card will expire, and it's a huge pain to remember all the places where I've entered that information online and have to update it. So you need to make that process pretty slick and make sure that customers, it's easy for them if that you notify them if their card is expired, or that if they go and are about to select this week's menu items, that they're prompted to update their card, and so on and so forth. So that process needs to be automated. It's really important. You also need to think about allowing customers to pause their subscriptions and unsubscribe. So if you make it really difficult for them to unsubscribe and you automatically renew their subscription without getting their consent, you will really annoy them. If you make it very difficult for them to not be able to pause their subscription, let's say they're going abroad for work, or they're in between jobs and they're feeling a bit broke, you don't want to lose them forever. So it's good to be able to offer them the ability to pause, and then they can start their subscription again when they're ready. So that all needs to be a pretty slick process. And the final really important thing is the easiest way to upsell a customer is to promise that you'll deliver them, a particular type of banana every week. Some people are very specific about where their bananas come from, and if you try and give them an alternative and force it on them because you've run out of stock of that particular banana, don't assume that any old banana is going to keep them happy. So you need to have a process for refunding them the cost of that banana. Ocado are very good at this, or offering an alternative. But all of those processes require software and systems in place. Otherwise, it's going to become impossible for you to manage. So make sure that you have the right technology stack, the right platform, the right kind of partner, and the right skills on hand to help you implement these systems. Once they're in place, they'll just run themselves. So it takes away a lot of the hassle factor. So what are the best practices when it comes to subscription-based models? Well, you need to think about your pricing very carefully. So think about, to begin with, when you're coming up with a pricing model, think about what your business goals are. So are you trying to grow the business? Are you starting a new business? Are you trying to increase average order values? Are you trying to reduce the cost of customer acquisition? And so on and so forth. So decide what it is you're trying to achieve, and then come up with the correct pricing model for your subscription-based business. So, for example, if you want a customer over a very long period of time, then and you think that they'll be subscribing for a year, then you might be able to charge them less for the privilege, as opposed to if they're only subscribing for 3 months, because you need to factor in the cost of acquisition and so on, and the recency and frequency with which they are going to buy your products. So it's very important to think about those things. You need to incentivize them to, so if you make it slightly cheaper for them to subscribe for 6 months versus 3 months, then that's going to be a good thing to do, as long as you can obviously make money doing so. And auto renewals are really good, as long as you give the customer notification and a chance to say no. That can be automated using software processes, but it needs to be thought about very carefully in terms of the wording and so on. So you also need to make sure, like I said earlier, that it's implemented across all channels to market. So not just the website, but in store as well. And that requires quite a lot of expertise and integration capabilities to get all those systems talking to each other. So you need to make sure you work with the right partner in that respect. So you need to, once you've agreed what the model is, what the goal is in terms of revenue, or increased AOV or reduced attrition of customers, then you need to measure them regularly, because you won't get everything right from the get-go. So if you're measuring things, and it's not that difficult to measure these things, there are good tools like Google Analytics that will allow you to do so, or business analytical tools that will allow you to do all of this kind of reporting, just to make sure that you're still on the right track. And yeah, provided you choose the right technology platform, you know, it's going to be a lot easier for you. So it's subscriptions, right? If it's subscriptions, that implies that it's a repeat purchase model. So, you know, don't just think about doing this on a website. You need to think, what kind of apps do people have on their phones? Well, they have apps that require them to use that product or service regularly. So, you know, it's really important that you deliver an app-like experience to your subscribers, because they'll want to be able to manage things on the go, and have that convenience. And once again, that's something that we can help with using technologies like progressive web apps and so on. So I just thought I'd share with you a really good case study. It's something that you should, if you've got time to do this, you should go and Google some of the video content put out by the Dollar Shave Club. So the Dollar Shave Club was a startup that was founded in 2012 in the US, and a very clever man thought that there was a lot of hassle and inconvenience of having to go and buy your razors and shaving cream as a man on a regular basis. You're always running out, your razors were blunt, or somebody was trying to sell you a product that had all sorts of gizmos on it at an overinflated price that actually didn't really make a difference to the quality of your shave. So one could have argued that it was an already saturated market in the US. You could buy your razors and shaving cream everywhere, but Dollar Shave Club decided to approach the market with a very simple value proposition that had a universal appeal. So what they're effectively saying is, if you give us a few dollars a month, we'll regularly send you very good quality razors and shaving cream to your home through your letterbox, and take all the hassle factor out of it. And you can become part of this exclusive club, and you know, also do good stuff for the environment and stop spending ridiculous amounts of money when you don't need to. So it was affordable and convenient, which would appeal to a lot of people, obviously. You can sometimes have a very convenient service with an expensive product, or a very cheap product with an inconvenient service. But if you can have affordable product with a convenient service, then you're onto a winner. But it was also important that they delighted their new customers with a lot of interesting content and made them feel part of this cool new club. So that's why I'm suggesting that if you have time, go and Google this afterwards. There's some really fun videos put out by the brand out there. So the proof is in the pudding, really. They now have 1.1 million subscribers to the Dollar Shave Club. It was valued in 2015, so this is 3 years after it launched, at $650 million. And it recently was acquired for $1 billion cash by Unilever. So that's how successful that particular company has been. So if you do it right, there's a massive opportunity out there. So by way of conclusion, I think it's safe to say that the opportunity for growing and improving your business through subscriptions is huge. There's a big move towards this. If you shop on Amazon, you'll see that Amazon is regularly trying to get you to subscribe to products now. People are used to the convenience. They no longer just buy on price. They will still, some people will still buy on price, but some people are quite happy to just spend a little bit more for the convenience, referring back to the Ocado Smart Pass customers. But you also have an equally large opportunity to upset your customers if you don't deliver a good service to them. So I would recommend a soft launch if this is something that you're doing for the first time, so that you can test the service and products that you're offering and it will give you a chance to improve it iteratively over a period of time, and that's a much better way of approaching the problem than going for the all big bang approach, which would also be incredibly expensive and complicated and time consuming to do. So soft launch, iterative approach is the best. Listen to what your customers are telling you and the feedback they're giving you about this service, because they're going to vote with their feet. So there'll be stuff that they'll actually say through customer surveys, but there'll also be information you can glean from the analytics that are available through the software that you use. It's really important that you choose a company that understands all of the different intricacies of building a subscription-based model and automating a lot of those processes so that you don't end up having to employ hundreds of people to deal with every kind of anomaly that happens. And you need to think about choosing a future-proof technology platform as well, because the subscriptions market is changing very, very rapidly. It's a huge market, and as a result, there are lots of different software companies jumping on the bandwagon. So it's really important that you make sure that you get the right advice in that respect. So that's it from me. Thanks for listening. I'm going to be available now for a little bit for any questions, if anybody has any. And you can put them through the online chat if you'd rather. But thank you. Thanks for listening.
Hi, Sarah. Yeah, we do actually have a few questions here. The first one is, what kind of products are best suited to a subscriptions-based model?
Okay, well, it's a good question, because there are obviously some very obvious ones, like, the face cream that you buy once a month, your razors. We talked about the Dollar Shave Club. Milk. I still have a milkman. I'm very privileged to have a milkman that delivers milk to me several times a week to my doorstep, which is a very nice treat. So certain things are pretty obvious, but don't rule out subscriptions if you're selling clothing or lifestyle products or anything that somebody will be buying more than once a year. Or obviously the less frequent the purchase, then the less attractive the subscription model is. But I would argue, if you, having shown the slide I showed you earlier, that actually for women especially, clothing is a monthly purchase, so that's something that is worth considering a subscription-based model for as well. So just think about how frequently I think your existing customers will want to buy your products, and that will hopefully help you to make the decision about whether it's appropriate for you or not.
Excellent, thank you. Another question we've had is, will I need my customers to agree to direct debits?
No, that's a very good, and that's a very good question, actually. No, you don't. Modern payment gateways, modern e-commerce payment gateways will allow you to do subscriptions. So that's about having the right agency and technology stack. But there's plenty of options out there where you can sort of easily set it up so that the customer enters their card details once and it knows how much they're happy to authorize per week, per month for that subscription. And they don't have to go and enter their card details every time. So that can be done in a secure manner without having to ask them to put, 3D secure codes in or sign bits of paper and so on and so forth. So that's not an issue.
Excellent. Another question we've had is, how easy is it to add subscriptions to my existing website, and what kinds of technical solutions or platforms should I consider? Okay,
so it's not easy. If it was easy, then everybody would be doing it overnight. But it's not super complicated either. So if you have an existing website that's built on a modern e-commerce platform like Magento or Shopify, those are the two I can think of, then adding subscriptions to your website is relatively straightforward. It can either be built bespoke, or there's a variety of extensions out there on the marketplace that are available, such as Order Groove and so on, which will allow you to sort of plug on a subscription model onto your business. The more complicated part of it is not necessarily the website, it's about the fulfillment. So you need to make sure that you work with an agency that understands what data needs to be exchanged between where you hold your inventory and your stock and your payment details, and where you handle your refunds and process exchanges with the website. So because it's an end-to-end business solution, it's not just about the website. The website, in some respects, is the easy bit. So just make sure you work with the right kind of partner. Most modern website platforms are good, but also most modern ERP solutions and retail systems will also be set up to handle this sort of thing. So I'm thinking about solutions like SAP and Microsoft Dynamics Navision and so on. We can advise with that if anybody has any specific questions. Happy to take that offline.
Perfect. And another question we had, Sarah, is what about marketing? How do I communicate to my customers that I am now offering subscriptions?
Okay, well, it's going back to one of the initial slides I had, which is decide who your customers are. So what are their personas? Are they young people? Are they, middle-aged people? Are they silver surfers? Where do they live? What do they like to do? And so on and so forth. Once you've decided that, then it's really important to come up with an appropriate digital marketing strategy. Some of that, if you've got existing customers, will be about just sending emails to them advising those existing customers that you now have a new service. If you're trying to acquire new customers, so like the Dollar Shave Club, then you're going to need to have a mixture of social media marketing, search marketing, those are the ads in Google, and affiliate marketing or retargeting on some of the social channels like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. So once again, that's something that we can help advise with. We can help with not just the implementation of those digital marketing strategies, but also with the content that you need to put out based on the sort of brand you are. So I'd recommend that you have a look at, like I said earlier, some of the content put out by brands like Gusto and the Dollar Shave Club and Birchbox. Just by Googling them or searching for them on social media and so on, you'll get a lot of information that way about the sorts of things you'll need to do to acquire new customers. But so the easy bit in some respects is offering the service to existing loyal customers. That's easy. You just need to sort of explain it to them in the right way via email marketing campaigns.
Excellent. Thank you, Sarah. There are one or two other questions that I think we'll take offline and come back to people on individually. And if any further questions do come to mind after the session, please do email them over to us and we'd be very glad to answer. On that note, I think that will bring our session to a close. Firstly, thank you very much to Sarah for presenting this particular session, and thank you to those of us who have joined. Of course, feel free to get in touch if you do have further questions, and we will look forward to hopefully engaging with you again soon.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, guys.